Testing. All right, there we go. Audio is good. All right, here we go. Time is 1:16. So, all right. So this month, new month, new challenge. November, winter stuff. What do you want to do? Maybe there's pomegranates, maybe there's cranberries. Some of the other ideas that were thrown out were some more technical stuff, things that I'm very glad didn't win, like a dry mead. Uh, I can appreciate a well-made dry. I'm still working on making good ones. I definitely lean onto the sweet side. You can hide a whole lot of sins behind a sweet mead. While I like to think mine are good, it's something that takes more time. You got to be doing a really good job getting good varietal honey. I've done some dry orange blossom stuff that I thought was absolutely fantastic. The run of the mill wildflower that you find, some of it's good for it, some of it's not. If I'm ever going to do another dry trad, which obviously is going to happen at some point here, it's going to be single source monoflorals. Other ideas were a bench trial. A friend of mine suggested maybe that you do like two different varieties of a fruit and then see how that affects, the outcome. Schramm's has some wonderful cherry meads that basically he goes and does things exactly the same way, and they're just so remarkably different for you know what they've got in them. It's the same thing, the same idea, but you go taste it too, and you could never mistake them for being the same mead. So even though this wasn't a winner with the bench trials, it might be something that's fun to go do here. Something to go and explore if you've got some free time. One of the fun things about a maple cranberry mead is that it is very challenging to ferment. So cranberries have some stuff in it that makes them not want to ferment. eh, Benzoic acid, a couple of others. You're going to experience stalls with cranberry, especially if you use a lot of it. So you've got two paths. You do cranberry juice or whole cranberries. In my past, I've done just juice, and I've done like you do a sizer all juice, and it went fine. The first time actually it was absolutely stunning. I used orange blossom honey, a really good juice that was not from concentrate, and it was fantastic. The next time around, I grabbed a different bottle of Ocean Spray. I don't know what kind of brands you guys have available, but that's my local one. And it was great for drinking, but after it fermented, the cranberry wasn't as strong. I didn't use a monofloral honey in it, and the orange that I had in there, it just wasn't the same. Um, so this time I want to try something a little bit different, get that magic back in the bottle, and do everything with whole fruit. So a buddy of mine, the guy that I'm going to go make this mead with, has done it before, and I've been really impressed with how his cranberries turned out. So we're going to go this route and see how it goes. The main start of it is going to be with the cranberries themselves. We'll just go grab frozen from Costco because they're cheap and effective, and there's no reason to like try to find single source bougie cranberries. They're kind of all the same thing. When they're ripe, they pick them and then they freeze them. Um, it's not like you're picking out apple cultivars and stuff like that. So one of the problems with cranberries is they don't break down a ton in pectinase or Lalzyme EXV, which is what I've seen used before with these. So they still retain a lot of their matter. So freeze them, crush them, and then dose them with pectin and try to get or pectinase, excuse me, and try to get the most out of it you can, juice and flavor wise. So we're gonna go borrow some tools to make that happen. I've got some press stuff here too. Not 100% sure how we're gonna do that, but they'll sit in the enzymes for a little bit, just get them a little softer so they squish easier. And then we'll have about 3 gallons of juice and the skins, which you're going to retain in a bag and add to the batch. So one of the differences that I'm going to be doing on this batch is I'm going to use some apple juice for it. We're going to do cranberry, apple juice, and then back sweeten with the maple there afterwards. So why apple? It's a flavor that goes really well with cranberry. I want to have more fruit in this, and cranberry, since it doesn't break down, it doesn't, I'm not going to get as much water as I need out of it. And using apple juice, a neutral flavor, get some more fruity aromas and esters in it. I think it's going to pair really well. And it lets me get really close to this whole no water thing that I've been on a huge kick on for like the last 2 years. So the other big things are going to be using a whole bunch of magic powders. And this is one of the things where my buddy has more experience than I do, is trying to get all these products from Scott Labs, get them to behave the way you want to really preserve the aromatics of the cranberry and to really make that maple a forward flavor and really, really worry about oxidation. Anything that's supposed to present really bright, if you go and have any oxidation in it, the flavors get very muted, and that's really what we're looking to avoid. So the full lineup that we're going to use is FT Blanc Soft, Opti White, Booster Blanc, and then Glutastar. And the Glutastar is an interesting one. So that one is the one that really reduces some of the oxidative damage from quinines. I think I'm saying that right. Don't take anything I'm saying for gospel here because I'm in over my head. Um, and I think that may have been part of the linkage to my last one not being as bright, is that I think I had excessive oxygen ingress and then also had some phenolics that I could have gone and scavenged using Glutastar to keep it from getting sort of this muted flavor to it. So one of the other things we're looking at is Bodiva. That will be a specific culture. It's kind of like the yeast that we use, but it's different. So it increases complexity and the aroma profiles in wines generally. We're mead, but I mean, hey, we're fermenting fruit. So the idea is that a lot of these wine specific nutrients we can go and take and get better mead out of it. We'll see how some of this goes. I've seen some of the results of this, and I haven't gone and done a lot of it myself outside of some of like the booster blocks and stuff, which are color and aromatic preservers. Very run of the mill, very, very useful. Um, so Booster Blanc, it's a nutrient essentially from Lallemand, and it, as its description says, it increases fresh varietal fruit aromas. And I think that is the biggest thing that my meads lack is really powerful aroma. And I think this is where I have got the most to learn is learning not how to make stuff taste great, which I do a good job of. I'm really, really happy with the flavors of my things, but then really bringing out the aroma to the next level. So Booster Blanc, Opti White, FT Blanc Soft. We're basically just doing the minimum amount for most of these. What ppm is appropriate. It's a little bit complicated. Um, we don't really know what we're doing yet with a lot of this, but essentially everything's going to go in at 1.25 grams per gallon, except for the FT Blanc Soft, and that's going to go in at 0.38 grams per gallon. And after this is done, I'll go build out the full recipe and get all that going. 6 grams per gallon for bentonite for helping things clear up, and then Lalzyme EXV at package directions, which I forgot at the moment here. I rely on the internet for that sort of thing to tell me how to use some of the basics and my old notes. So cranberries, they like to stall. We've got all the flavor and the aromatics and the basic recipe ironed out. So what do you do after that? Well, you've got a target ppm yan that you want to be doing. So, how much nitrogen do you have in this must? Well, my yeah, one of my friends jumped in and said, "Yeah, a pinch of Lalzyme EXV, and that's about the scientific amount. It doesn't take very much." Um, so it's lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, there we are. So stalls. So nitrogen, 450 ppm yan. That's a lot, but if you're going to be doing a high ABV and you're going to have a must that's really hostile to the yeast, it's super acidic, it's got weird acids that are additional preservatives and more. It's just not great. So you go up the yan and things ferment a little better. And you want to use a lot of organic nitrogen sources so that it flocculates out if it's not consumed, especially if you're doing a staggered sugar like we're planning on doing. So, staggered sugars, where are we going to start? We're going to start around 1.1, and that's going to be completely discounting all the cranberries in there. I think we're going to get a lot of the juice into the must, but basically, when the hydrometer, or in our case, densometer, reads 1.1, that's where we're going to start. And then when that gets down to the end, we're sitting close to FG, getting dry, add more honey, and just keep on step feeding how it goes. We're not really sure the exact ABV this is going to hit, and we want to still be able to back sweeten with maple. So if we're going to have a FG of somewhere around 106, I mean, it's a lot of cranberry that we're putting here. We probably could do 109 if we felt like, but let's keep the diabetes on the down low. So somewhere between those numbers. So keep feeding it back up to 1030 more or less and see how it keeps dropping from there. I suspect we're going to get 15%, maybe 16% out of this. The yeast we are planning on using is called the Exotics Mosaic, and it's specifically good for wines. It's really a beautiful mix for that I've had with another brewer's concoction, and it comes out fantastic. Stone fruit aroma, and it presents a very good mouth feel, which is one of the reasons that it's fun to use in mead. Where if we're dry, notoriously we have poor mouth feel, and this could be one particular yeast that does a really good job helping a mead that isn't relying on sweetness to really carry some body into it. Something I think a lot of mead suffers from is poor body. So you've got the yeast, you've got your nutrition, you've got the magic powders that you're going to put in, and what else do you need to do to get a good batch? You got to balance it in the end. So we're probably going to start with oak right off from the beginning because why not? I mean, you got two spirals, the standard dosage. It's going to be great in there. The maple I have from a local friend of mine. He taps his own trees, and I've got quart. Yeah, probably about a quart of that left. So we'll go toss that in here once we hit our actual final gravity later on down the line, and back sweeten with that, and things are going to be pretty much right where we're looking for. It's all going to be balancing the ABV, the acidity, bringing out the aromatics, and then trying to get the tannin. The last thing that we're not real sure of is going to be how much tannin do you need on this. I think we're probably going to be going a little heavy-handed with the oak. Uh, Medium toast American is what I start with. 2 sticks, maybe we're going to double that for a longer age. I think a little bit of the apple is going to really contribute to a little bit of bitterness. If you've got a little bit more of a tannic apple, the last time I was at this orchard, which was just for the last challenge here, great stuff. This juice was absolutely fantastic. Great acidity, great body, great tannin to it. Super happy with how it's sitting behind me here in my mead room, with a little bit of melter honey to back sweeten it, and it's standing great. So this is a complicated one. What could go wrong with this? You could have a stall, so you want to make sure not to get too aggressive on your OG, so that you can live with something if it stalls out early. Um, You could use juice, so you don't have to deal with some of the solids, and those are kind of going to be the big challenges, is dealing with fruit solids and dealing with an OG that doesn't want to stick around. Anyhow, that's about what I had for the mead challenge. Uh, Beyond that, things are going pretty well. What I'm drinking tonight is some of my old sins. I did a bench trial essentially, where I was trying to go see different nutrient regimens and see how they stacked up. I did it at 5, 10, 15, and 21% ABV, and things were pretty good. The no nutrient control, that one really sucked. I didn't keep that going for too long. It was very clear that that was not a happy fermenter very quickly. But I ended up with like 30 gallons of traditional mead with that was made with a really shitty honey that I absolutely hate the honey that I made it with. Every once in a while, you'll see me go rag on a particular brand of honey called Nature's Nate, and it's because of this mead. It's 4 years old, and I just absolutely hate it. I back sweeten it. I do all kinds of stuff with it. And it's all the same. I can taste this honey that I don't like in it. Um, but this, I put a capsicum ale. I make a Reaper capsicum ale that I do about 20 to 1. For real, why is the Nature's Nate so utterly terrible? I couldn't tell you. They got in trouble for supposedly heating their stuff and filtering it when they said it was raw and natural, and I don't know. It's not my business, not my problem. And other people really like it. Some people have had different batches. It could have been that I just had a suspicious batch that they're blending their honey. They say it's American product, but they're just bottling it stateside. It's coming from God knows where. So, maybe they got a bad batch of honey and that's how it ended up in my doorstep. But, I got like 40 bears of honey or something, 80 bears of honey. And yeah, I think there are better options at that price point. I think Websteront has some fine honeys. I mean, they're not good, but they're a higher quality than that and the same price. Costco, I've had nothing but good things. You go to their business center, you can bulk buy honey there by the pail, no shipping fees. That's pretty cool. It's not the best honey. It's imported from Argentina and Brazil and stuff like that. But I mean, hey, shit, don't look a gift horse in the mouth if you're looking to do a Malamel. Let's see. And then what was the other thing? Oh, and then a good bit of lemon juice to brighten it up here. And I'm pretty happy with that. So finally, after 4 years here, I'm starting to drink through that. And hey, it's 21% alcohol by volume. Can't turn up your nose at that. Yeah, Mel, I saw the 12-ounce bears you had for $1. That is an incredible deal. I wonder what was in those. I know you like the taste of it pretty good, so that's a good find. Oh, that's one of the things I forgot to talk about. We're gonna do melter honey for the cranberry. That's kind of fun. Um, just something that's gonna give it more body. And melter is, it's one of my favorites, but I'm on a huge kick for it. Nearest expiration. Yeah, yeah, because honey's definitely gonna expire. But I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe the packaging's only UV rated for X number of months. Isn't that scary? uh, so yeah, what else has been going on beyond that? Been a little hard to go spend money on mead lately. My house got broken into. That was, or my garage. Let's not exaggerate here. That sucked. I got thousands of dollars of tools stolen out of there. I've got some other hobbies that I'm super into, and losing all that has really cut into my fun budget and my free time too. As I, get like cameras and stuff out set up outside, and just trying to make the house a little bit less of a fun target. Um, replace some things, get some cameras, get some lights, and it's expensive. My wife and I are doing fine, but still, it's no one has piles of free money sitting around. It'd be nice if life could stop giving us a couple of kick in the financial pants. It's been a tough year. 2021 hasn't been the most kind. Between COVID and everything else, it's been a rough ride. Fortunately, a couple of good hobbies. Things are going well elsewhere. Trying to think what other needs I have going that I really want to go see. Um, we're doing a marriage celebration here because we had a COVID wedding, and we'd like to be able to have our relatives celebrate with us. So I'm working on getting a whole bunch of my like really strong recipes, all my hydromels that I'm super proud of. Dial them in one more time in a 5-gallon batch, and then scale them up. We're going to be doing all the wine, mead at our wedding. Probably a couple of champagnes and stuff like that that are commercial, but yeah, 200, 250 people. Got to do all the liquor for that. That'll be really fun. Hopefully, everyone enjoys as much as I do. Everyone who's going to be there has certainly had my stuff before, but you know, it's always good when people do appreciate it. So in there's a elderflower braggot that I really like, and then a something I call triple berry crusher. So that's, let's see, 4 pounds per gallon fruit from Costco, just their mixed berry plus orange blossom. And yeah, just ferment that to 5%, back sweeten it a bit, carbonate it, and it's fantastic. Mango habanero, and a couple others here and there that we're thinking about. I think a Hefeweizen yeast with banana and orange in it that I think is absolutely lovely with gold malt to leave it with a little bit of residual sugar. But yeah, that's most about everything that I've got going there. See a couple of people are on here. Anyone got anything fun that they're working on here in the next couple of weeks or months? Or has anyone tried any of the monthly challenges and had some successes or some real failures? I know not every one of them from my end has been a absolute winner by any means, but that's what you get for learning. No water. Let's see. Blueberry and macadamia honey. I haven't tried macadamia. Um, it's nutty. I've been told it's a lot like avocado blossom. I'd love to give some of those a little bit more of a try. But especially a no water. I think blueberry goes well with everything. Trying to get something that supports that flavor and really enhances it. One of my favorites is a little bit of heat with blueberry. I don't know if that'll necessarily go with macadamia, but like everything that I've gone like blueberry plus orange, or orange blossom or vanilla or cinnamon. It makes the berry really, really pop. So I would love to see how that turns out with a nice varietal honey like macadamia. Mm. Trying to think if there's any other experiments that I want to be doing, stuff that I feel like I should be trying. I bought a brick of 1118, and I've just been going through that for like a year now, and I'm getting to the tail end of it. But man, I gotta get through the last of this so I can start playing with some new yeast again. I really enjoyed having the brick, but when you have to choose between, oh, am I gonna do the exact same thing again, and then wanting to try like a new yeast, it's like you can't go drop another $40 on another brick of yeast if you've already got one brick sitting in your freezer. And they're good for like a long while, especially if you keep them cold. Although supposedly I've learned recently that that's not actually that big of a deal to keep them cold. Um, that especially during rehydration, that may be disadvantageous if you go toss them in cold into the rehydrating must. So that's something I'm probably gonna be. Yeah, chef, that's because you're a bad influence. I had to pull your leg for about 60 seconds to go get a brick. Mm. But yeah, like what kind of yeast do you use? You get comfortable with a couple and it gets good results and your batch is like, $300 of fruit. Sorry about that. I'm back. Mhm. Definitely lost my train of thought there. Oh, massive overpitch. Yeah, just see what ABV you can really get out of it. Um, I don't have a pound, so I can't make internet history by tossing the whole fucking brick into there and see how that goes. But someone's already made that claim to fame. I guess you need a full 2 pounds then. What is that? A 500 gram brick? Do a whole shotgun. Now, one of the other ones I've always talked a lot of shit about people who mix yeast. So I'd love to see how that goes. Like if you go and mix stuff and see what kind of ABV you get. Like let's say you start with something low ABV and super estery or phenolic that's gonna stall out. Like a lot of different beer yeasts, and then go toss in 1118, and then do like two batches that are exactly the same as that, like all this dry traditionals, and then see, or maybe not, like 12%. Yeah, 12%, something that would ferment dry. And so then like at like 4% add the second yeast, and then you do it like the mix, the single, and then Lavin 1118, and see how it ends up flavor wise. Which one dominates. My opinion is that whatever gets started first is going to be the flavor dominator, and that anything you pitch afterwards is just it's just not gonna get enough growth. And a lot of the aromatics and phenols come right at the start, when things are just getting ramped up, and so maybe I've got the wrong of it. Maybe both of them do that ramp up thing at the beginning of their growth period, and you get the esters of two different yeast. I don't know. I've always seen it as just something that's too complicated to play with unless you're like specifically doing like a lacto or a sour of some sort, which those are not going to get to any sort of high ABV. Um, but it's something fun to go play with. One of the other things I've been working on for a while here is trying to figure out how to get my stuff to scale up. Like let's say right now I'm doing 16-gallon batches at my biggest. 3 to 5 if I'm nervous about something, and 16 if I'm just like, yep, I want to have a lot of this and I want it to go bulk age and just come back to it in 2 years after it's nice and mature. Um, but so that scaling thing, it's like, well, how do you do fruit? You know, uh, Costco is great, but what are you going to do when you're a professional? Which is what I'm aspiring to be here at some point. Do you go and buy 10,000 pounds of blackberry in bags? No, you can't do that. You got to buy it by the barrel or something. So trying to find good sources of bulk fruit like that. I've got a reference online that I'm playing with a couple of things called aseptic fruit puree. No endorsement for them yet. I have no idea if they're any good. But they do sell stuff by the drum, and I'm assuming it's the same stuff by the drum as it is in a 50-pound bag. And so that's a good way to go scale up 10 or 20x your current volumes is to go jump up to those drums, and okay, you get 2 drums of fruit, a drum of honey, and a drum of water, and well, shit, that's kind of the same thing as a home brew, just on a with different measuring cups. Let's go see. Septic fruit puree. All right. They send me emails every time I go click on this website. I think I put my credentials in once, and now I get an awful lot of ads. But yeah, like so a 44-pound bag. We've got mango, lime, strawberry, stuff that'd be really fun to go give it a go. Like, when was the last time you had a papaya mead? Yeah, it's $90 a bag plus shipping. But that could be something super fun to go give a go. Passion fruit, pineapple, orange, tangerine. Like, I would love, 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 love to go try a tangerine blackberry batch, and both of those are on there. And if I don't practice some self-restraint because my bank account is I'm gonna end up with like $400 worth of fruit coming out tonight, and that's no good. Um, but they always have different ones coming through that I've gone and seen. It'd be really cool to see some of these other things going on there, like goldenberry, lulo, not nanger, nangeria. I don't even know how to pronounce that. It's Narajanjilla. No idea what kind of fruit that is, but it'd be fun just to go get some of these and just go wild with it and see what happens. One of the big things that's a super disappointment on there is they don't have tart cherries. And I'd love to have a off-season source of tart cherry for a lot of the stuff that I'm looking to do. I love making Viking's blood, hibiscus with tart cherry, and I think it's just absolutely fantastic. But that's about where my mead life is at. So I think I might be signing off here for a bit. See if I can't get this video edited and get it up for other people to take a look at and see what this month's challenge is. Anyhow, thanks everyone for stopping around. I'll see you around. See you all around.